kó wá létí ẹni gbọ́rọ̀ Jésù yóò yọ ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ bàbá. Jẹ́ kó wá létí. Jẹ́ kó wá létí ẹni gbọ́rọ̀ Jésù yóò yọ ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ bàbá. Jẹ́ kó wá létí. Jẹ́ kó wá létí ẹni gbọ́rọ̀ Jésù yóò yọ ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ bàbá. Before I start, because I'm going to be swinging between English and Yoruba. None of them are sharp, but I'm going to do my best. My Yoruba is not good, my English is not good. So if I shoot any bullet, please just duck. That's all I'm going to say to you, but my apologies. So I'm going to do my best. Emma being senior, if you might like young warning, I have to share something with you tonight. Because on Sunday, I was actually translating for my sister sitting down. She was preaching about the church. When we finished, I was going into the office because I've got too many parties. That was what was in my mind because I've had it lined up from Monday. I think my sister can testify. I've had it lined up from Monday. I haven't rested. Money, no, money I don't actually want to tell you. Money, no, money not interested. Money not this time at all. As God will have it. So when I opened my phone yesterday morning, Boxing Day, I couldn't send the message because I'm always looking on my phone to see if there's any church messages. I say, good morning, ma. Money, good morning. Mommy, she was. I have to go to a party now, and I need to come. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Your anointing will not run dry. I'm glad because you were in spirit. If anybody said to me that I was going to be standing in front of you and in front of God today, I would say no. One thing I have to share with you, from the time Yanu said I was going to be preaching, I haven't slept as I'm standing in front of you. I was troubled. Topic number announcement, topic no, where would I start from? But because the God that we serve, you know, when they give you a job, you have to be in spirit. You know, when you're translating for someone, you have to be in spirit. Translating when they're preaching, you have to be in spirit. One will be alone. I just want you to guide me on this journey. And what I want you to do for me tonight, because can you tell you something? Revelation for me going in Yoruba. If you which is revelation. To be quite honest with you, I only know a little bit about revelation. But I think when Yanu said to me that I was going to be doing revelation, I had to start from somewhere. Because we will just pick the topic that we want. But we don't know what came about it at the beginning, how that topic came about, and what we arrived at. I'm going to share homework in me. I got her 2 Bibles. I did say to you that my Yoruba is not good. I took out my Yoruba Bible. I took out my English Bible. That today I have to do justice to what is in front of me, because I had to understand that topic. When the tabernacle of covenant. Yes. Okay. Strange, we quickly go to Google. I'm sure that's what we do. And that's what I did. Google, we have to be best friends. Everything I have to do, I have to go into that. But I want you to be with me in spirit as I'm going to do this topic, because I'm going to link it to 3 things that we did for October, November, and December. I'm going to link all of them together. And the reason why I'm saying that is because God is so marvelous. When He's doing things, we just think, so why are you doing what you're doing? But what He did, when He asked me, when He said that, Mommy, and I had to actually sit down and think that how do I put all these topics? When Mommy were actually link church more, which was a thing for December. One would be okay now. It becomes a challenge for me. So what I'm going to do first, because obviously most of you might have seen Revelation. Maybe someone like me. I'm sorry, Shadi, I know I'm a bit tall. Maybe someone like me that haven't, sometimes when they say that we need to pick up our Bibles, we need to read them, well, okay, that's all I'm going to say. But when I actually looked into Revelation, and I was thinking, so what is Revelation all about? I had to actually go and find out, before I actually go to the topic that what they said I should talk about. So I actually looked at Revelation, okay then, so what's Revelation actually telling me more? Wait on his messages is what? When I looked at it and I saw that revelation was the things that actually happened in the past, the things that is happening now, and the things that is going to happen. Isn't Revelation amazing? That's what I'm going to say. Isn't it amazing? So we got me to buy G-Chef. We want to go and sing. We want so how did we know what is going to happen to me in 10 years' time? Isn't that in the Bible? Isn't that in the Bible? Sorry, I don't know. Are you pregnant, Shari? Oh no, me, pregnant. I know it's too late. Sometimes when they give us messages, as doubting Thomas will be saying, so how did they know? Or we'll be saying to them, I'm sure Mommy Aisha saw me from Lian, so that's why Lian is giving me that message. Or sometimes they ask us to do something, we will not do it. Or sometimes we will send to, what my sister said last week, that we will send to Baba Kinekon, maybe Baba, I don't want to mention names, we send to them in Nigeria, they say, Daddy, I want to live in the UK, I want you to do this for me. When that man has not even fasted, does not even know a thing, he's just taking, he just says, 65,000 naira, one share. You haven't even given your woolies in London, you haven't even given them £5. They will need your sheep. Willie Charles, you know what, just have this box of chicken for this month. We haven't actually done that. But you know what? This revelation is so amazing. It's full of, when I was looking at it, I actually looked at all the things that he said was going to happen. And I looked at it. Once I saw Orishirishi, Kotomashele, the scroll of the Lamb, when that one came, the throne in heaven, the woman and the dragon, the two witnesses, everything. There's so many things that is happening now that is actually in Revelation. So, and I said to myself, so where do I start? So my spirit was just taking me that I actually need to go and read, the introduction of Revelation itself. And they said the revelation to John was written at the time when Christians were being persecuted because of their faith in Jesus Christ as Lord. They just saw something for me. Isn't that happening now?
Yes.
Isn't it happening in Kaduna?
Yes, dear.
When the Christians, when they're trying to practice their faith and they're being persecuted, they're being killed. Isn't it happening now?
Yes.
But it's already in the Bible. I think our Bible is our best friend. I think that's when we will pick up and we will vogue. Nigeria, innovation. There you go. We want to see the latest fashion. But when I picked up Revelation, Bani, when I looked at Revelation, I actually shook. It became when you pick up that Revelation, and try to Revelation from the beginning to the end, then you will know that all these things that we're talking about has been said before it came to us. So the writer's main concern is to give his readers hope and encouragement. Wọ́n encourage wa pé àní yóò dá sẹ́, ọjọ́ ọ̀la rẹ̀ yóò dá. Iṣẹ́ ọmọ òní dá ẹ̀ láàmú, ọmọ òní dá wa láàmú. You know, we keep on praying. Those are the prayers that we did again today. You know, we keep on praying over ourselves, we keep on praying over our families, we keep on praying everything. And that's what Revelation is all about, you know. And because of their faith in Jesus Christ. So, and this is just to urge us to remain faithful at all times. Because all the persecution that we are going through, even in our place of work, we get persecuted because we are black anyway. So because we are black, you're already a majority amongst the minority. Maybe she man saw majority, the minority, but we know that we're minority amongst majority. You know, sometimes you just try and brave it to say that I am going to make it amongst you. But we know the score, you know, that we are being persecuted. But because of, you know, the type of person we are, we will say that I'm here to stay. You're not going to take me away. I'm going to stay where I belong. This is my turf and I'm going to make it work. That is what we do. So okay then, let me just look at chapter 1, because my spirit was just taking me to different places. Then I said, okay, let me look at chapter 1. And the chapter 1 was saying the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angels unto his servant John. So when God showed Jesus Christ, he took him through all these revelations and everything. He's no longer here. Then he brought them an angel to pass on all these messages to John. And everything was written down by John, so that people like me, so that people like yourselves, we will now be testifying to God's work. Haven't we got testimonies? Haven't we got testimonies to give? Yes. Okay. I'm sure we all have testimonies to give. All the time, we always have testimonies. And when it was given to John, he was recording it. He was recording God's word and of the testimony of Jesus Christ. So he was testifying to everything that Jesus Christ had done. So he was testifying. So Jesus was the Son of God and everything. John was writing everything. He was recording it for us so that people like me, that we are actually doubting Thomas. Sometimes Thomas said, who is Jesus Christ? I'm sure if they ask us that, do you know anything about the 25th of December? I'm sure we don't even know. We just know that I just want my Christmas present. Santa is coming. That's all we know. Santa is coming because I just want him to bring that Gucci bag for me or that Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton or Louis Vuitton. Help me. Which one? Louis Vuitton? Louis Vuitton. Okay. Anyway, let's just leave it as that. In case it persecutes me for saying it wrong, I better leave it. So one blessed is that reader that when they hear the words of this prophecy and keep those things which are written there for the time it is at hand. People when the Lord give us the ears to hear and the hearts to be able to do the things that you've asked us to do. You know, sometimes when they give us messages, no, that message, maybe that might be the message that will turn your life around. And you've actually discounted it because it's Mama Aisha. Well, I might be in my drunken state. I might be a sinner, but it's not for you to judge me. At that point in time, when I'm standing in front of you and giving you that message, it's for you to take it and say, "What you take it and run with it." That's what you do. Not take it because Mommy Aisha, I'm glad one for giving you for me. No. But you're actually doing yourself a disservice because I've done my part. It's for you to do yours. Now, let me now go into today's topic, which they said we should talk about. The topic is, if you go into Revelation 15, can somebody just read that for me? So that I won't be the only one talking. And if somebody can read it for me in Yoruba, so that I can practice my Yoruba a bit. Revelation 15 verse 5. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plague, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. Should I read it? Can you hear?
Okay, no, just stop there. Just stop there. Okay, you got one very low one in Revelation 15 verse 5 for and you shall let you shall if you got you most of Revelation 15 verse 5 here. Which one did you read?
I read verse 1.
No. Could you read Revelation 15 verse 5? Revelation 15 verse 5. Should I do it myself?
And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened.
Opened?
Yeah.
Okay, take a seat.
Thank you.
Okay. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's something. But right now, as I read it myself, I'm promising you, I did not actually understand what that was all about. Thank you, because your Yoruba is just as good as mine. So we're on the same page. That didn't actually mean anything to me. I read it over and over and over again. I could not place it anywhere. For me, when they say that I should treat something, I like to take it from the top and bring it down to that topic. So for me, it will make sense. But when I'm reading it there in its own, in its own part, it didn't actually make sense. So if somebody can just read it from the beginning, from verse 1. English will do. I can manage that.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. For in them is filled up the wrath of God.
Could you stop there for me? Sorry, Didi. And it said, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having 7 last plagues. For in them is filled up the wrath of God. The wrath of God. Now, don't very be more alone. You know, I said to you that Revelation is so powerful. Who wants to see the wrath of God? Who? You know, even for me, when I was reading that, money, it be no alone. No way. You know, for me, you know, one will be, try that you said I should come and stand and be talking about the wrath of God. And go long, baby, go long. You know, when we're talking about God, we want to talk about more don't feel bashiri. If I said to you that I haven't slept, I really mean I haven't slept. Because by the time I looked at Revelation, I didn't actually read the whole thing. Because of the type of Bible that I have, it's got some subheadings. The subheadings actually shook me in my skin was like it was going to come out of his body. I feel privileged that I'm standing before you today. It is not by my power, but it's by God's grace. But I just want you to walk with me in spirit. Carry on, Didi.
And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty, just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints.
Just finish that verse for me and stop. Okay. Do you know how many times we've sang God's praises for the things that He's done in our lives? I'm actually one of them. We're so ungrateful. All they are asking us to do is just to praise Him. I think when He created us as human beings just to be able to praise Him. But we find it very difficult to do so. Who are they? Like Afrobeats? Bonner Boy. Shape Bonner.
Yes.
Okay. But you go and be by then. Oh my God. I think they would have taken that door down. Because this place will be full to the brim. But today, we are blessed. Because if you don't know, because let me tell you something. I knew I was going to be the one to be preaching today. On a normal day, when Woli Yanu tells me whoever is preaching or Woli Charles tells me, I put up the name of the person that is going to preach. But this time around, I did not even tell anybody that I was the one who was going to be preaching. I just left it. I want everybody to make their own decision. Me coming to church today is my decision. I don't want people to come to say, oh, it's because Leabridge is the one that is going to do the preaching. That's when I'm going to be in church. Or I will turn up. Let people turn up because they know they have to turn up. And I think that's the way it should be.
That's right.
Not that because Mommy Aisha Lumashiwasu, I'm not an evangelist. I'm not, but because I'm privileged to be here, I'm just treating the subject just like maybe when we go to school. When I think I only did my primary school, but when we went to primary school, we were given the opportunity to have a topic, to talk about it and treat it, and that's the way I'm dealing with it. And God will continue to direct us as we're doing things. Didi, could you carry on for me, please? Give me a second. No, verse 4. Verse 4.
Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy, for all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest.
Okay, stop there for me. When I say to you, who does not fear God? The one that can actually, you can just step out of there and you actually know more. Or you actually sleep like William said when she actually came out of her body, or I'm sure some of us might have had so many dreams that maybe we just find ourselves where we shouldn't be, or maybe where we think we are meant to be, but we're not actually meant to be there. And when we're there, we're saying to ourselves, do you know what? I don't actually want to come back. I've actually been in dreams when I've seen my dad, where I saw him was so marvelous, because I know it, well, because he was what's it called? He had a top position in Kerubu. And I remember when I saw my dad, and I was saying to my dad, Dad, I actually want to come with you. About 3 times. When we get to the door, he will say, Olu, this is not your place. And I would say, no, this place is so beautiful. I need to be there. I need to be there. Because what I saw was so amazing that I said, Dad, I need to go with you. There was a time that I was actually kicking a ball right behind him. And I said, I'm coming with you. I'm coming with you. By the time I got there, he said, no, at this point you need to stop. When we're doing things, we need to make sure that we're in spirit. When we're doing things, we need to ensure that we're in spirit, because there are times that we do things and we just think, one day we can see church lady. Like my sister said, are we actually here as bench warmers? Or are we actually here in our body? Where's the spirit? Sometimes we come to church. When we come to church, we sit down, our mind is actually away. Okay, topic will not treat it for October, November, December. Can anybody actually say something about the theme of those 3 months? I'm sure we've actually forgotten. I am sure we've actually forgotten. I'm sure we've forgotten. So anyway, we post it on the church platform just to remind ourselves. Didi, could you read chapter 5 for me?
And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened.
When I read that part, what came to mind when I finished reading it? Ọ̀run ẹ̀ṣí o, ọ̀run ẹ̀ṣí. Ẹ jẹ́ bá mi kọrin yẹn, ẹ̀yin akọrin ẹ jẹ́ ràn mí lọ́wọ́. Ọ̀run ẹ̀ṣí o, ọ̀run ẹ̀ṣí.
Ọ̀run kìíní, ọ̀run kejì, ọ̀run kẹta, ọ̀run kẹrin, ọ̀run karùn-ún, ọ̀run kẹfà, ọ̀run keje ṣílẹ̀kùn káyọ̀mídé.
few of us that were in the church. When you pick up a fake body, you buy it away when you are. So that people go out now, people can you go low, they could live dada. So that here go out, what's the Abi? Only I came on this on yet. So here go out, what's that? When we're walking into 2020, people will actually be marveling and be wondering, so where did you go that you got all this and you're just glowing? Who doesn't want to glow in 2020? I want to glow in 2020. Even my children, I want them to grow. My grandchildren, I want them to grow and everything. You know, one man said, you need to get one somewhere and get kind of silly. I think that statement was actually made for a reason. You know, when there's blessings to be given, you know, devil is so powerful that is the time that he will say to you, and sit down. Friday, one church. One is too cold. But we have that boot that is up to here. We've got everything that will keep us warm. That's when we'll buy the best shoes, the best jackets, but we will go to church. We will go to work. But when they said we should come to church, it is very hard for us to do. Can someone please read, before we go into that, the reason why I said I was going to link it to what we said in October. And you can wrong later think that in October. Mouth. And what do you think our mouth is meant for?
Life and not death.
Okay. And what else are you meant to use your mouth for?
To lift up your brother.
Okay. Anything else?
To praise the Lord.
To praise Him. To ask for things for yourselves. To uplift yourself. To do everything that you need to do for your families. That's what our mouth is meant for. And the revelation, it says in there that you use your mouth to praise Him, you use your mouth not to hurt anybody as well. What about what's the next one for November? Family. If you don't bring your family along, I think we're actually lost. If you think that because I didn't take Aisha along, if I didn't take my children, if I didn't show my children the way, the path of the Lord, I've actually failed. If I didn't show my children the way of the Lord, I have failed. If I think I'm successful, I failed. If my children don't know God, I have failed. So those of us that are starting families of God families already, bring your family along into the house of the Lord. I didn't say necessarily Kerubu and Seraphim because I know our children, they're diversifying now, they're going places. But as long as you know that when they step out, they know God. Just the way that you know God. Because Kerubu and Seraphim is not for everybody. So we need to appreciate that. Because once our children go to university, they diverse from it. So we need to appreciate it. And the last one that we spoke about was the church. Revelation is still taking the church, is still using it. Revelation it wasn't in it's not in Genesis, and it's not in Exodus, it's not in any of those chapters. But also, and God is doing it every time, even in your dreams. It's because we are not paying attention. We've eaten too much. So when we sleep and God takes us through a journey, we've forgotten. By the time we get up, we're busy calling Woli, and we're busy calling all the Wolis all over the world. Once you start saying, just forget the dream. You're lost already. You need to start fasting. You need to start doing the right things that you need to do. You need to pay attention to your dreams because it's a revelation for you. Revelations is things that is showing you. Let's not depend on all our woolies. All of us are woolies. Not because reason why you are actually prophets and prophetesses is because God guides you as well. You know, there are times that you are walking and you just think, oh, you know what? I don't think I want to go to that place today. It's because your spirit is telling you not to do so. But because we are so weak in the spirit, we don't even know where we are going. Ìgbà yẹn gan la máa ń sọ pé ibi tó ní pé ká má gbà yẹn gan, ìgbà yẹn gan la máa ń sọ pé ìgbà yẹn gan ni mo fẹ́ gbà, until we drop into a hole. Then we now say, okay, then go come, then you go kí n má gbà yẹn. We need to pay attention. That's that chapter 5 is actually Tabernacle of Covenant. You know Baba Koseunti that we serve. And we are so proud of Koseunti, that God, when we call Baba Koseunti, Koseunti. Ekpe kimbo, Koseunti. Ekpe kimbo, Ọlọ́run ayérayé, Ọlọ́run alágbára, Ọlọ́run tó wà lókè. Ó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ìyanu lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́, ó kú iṣẹ́ rẹ̀, ó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ìyanu lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́, ó kú iṣẹ́ rẹ̀. And it's Tabernacle of Covenant. That is actually the topic of what this episode should talk about today. Baba Koseunti actually made us promises. Only ẹni tó bá ti lè tẹ̀lé wọn bí báyìí, they will go home with something. People have actually testified. I'm a living testimony myself. People have heard my story. And I'm still testifying to God's work in my life. I keep on to testify. You know, sometimes when I look at myself and I'm thinking, no, I don't think I'm deserving of what I'm getting from Baba Koseunti. But I know I'm deserving. So I keep on saying, thank you, Lord. So that's why I thank Him. When He asks me to jump, I will say, how high, Lord? And that's what I want us to take. When God gives you something, no matter how small, appreciate it. So that's a Tabernacle of Covenant. God made us promises in this church. Even when they are at the point of detention, before we know it, one was away, oh, sorry, we made a mistake, you need to go. And they're gone. Baba Koseunti sends them back. But because we are not appreciative of the things that God is doing for us, we are unable to testify, we are unable to come and say, Baba Koseunti, thank you. And that's what is happening to us now. So, if you could just read Revelation 11:19 for me, please.
Hallelujah. The temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in this temple the ark of His testament, and there were lightnings and voices, and thunderings, and an earthquake, and great hail.
When I now finished reading Revelation 15:5, then it now took me to Revelation 11:19. And the temple of God was open in heaven, and there was seen in this temple the ark of His testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and earthquake. What do? We get scared. Isn't it so? So Revelation 19 is saying, and the temple of God was open. You know, before we had the temple, what was done in those days was a tabernacle. And the tabernacle, it was said in those days, was actually a tent. Because they could not do the temple itself. So they had a tabernacle. So tabernacle, you walk on one more poles, in one fizzy, was kind of like a sand, and they were still using it as a place of worship. But when God was ready, He took John and his disciples, and they set up a temple of this is our own temple. You know, when we come in, this is our own temple. When we come in, we ask Baba Koseunti, I've come before you today. I've got a covenant with you. I want to make a covenant with you. I want you to do things for me. I want you to guide me. I want you to protect me. I want you to take me to where I need to go to. So that tabernacle, we're making a covenant with God. We're asking Him of the things that we want Him to do with us. We're using our mouth to do it. We're using, we're praying to God that these are the things that we want Him to do for us. So what we are going to do now, because we've actually got to that place, because when I looked at the Bible as well, we are doing Revelation, and my spirit took me back, you know what, January to December. And the Bible, what's the Bible? From Genesis to Revelation. That was where my spirit took me. But January to December. Whoever chose that revelation, may God continue to direct them and place their feet in the right places. And may the anointing not run dry. Because we're actually in December and we're treating Revelation. That is a link to it. So what we are going to do now, because we are now in December and we're not going into 2020, we're not going to rise up. We're not going to rise up on our